going on, everybody? Lime Knight 74 here. If you're unaware, the Assassin's Creed franchise is one of my very favorite video game franchises of all time. And obviously with the announcement of the Assassin's Creed Infinity that is supposed to be coming out here in a few months, we don't know the future of Assassin's Creed. So if they're gonna go, I've been hearing rumors of them going like within like Fortnite style with seasons coming up every few months. I don't know, that doesn't appeal to me. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping we still stick with the same formula of one game with one era, but I don't think they're going to be doing that anymore. So we do not know the future of this franchise. But I figured with the unknown coming up, I would make a video about the top 10 eras in history that I would love to see the Assassin's Creed franchise go. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the video of the top 10 eras in history the Assassin's Creed should visit. Number 10 on our list is the Mexican-American War. The Mexican-American War was between the years of 1846 and 1848. During that time, the president at the time believed the country had the right to all the land until the Pacific Ocean. One of the things we could put in this game would be the famous Alamo battle that was fought during this time. Microsoft could tell an excellent story of a Mexican assassin defending their homeland from foreign intruders, kind of like what they did with Connor in the Assassin's Creed 3. Now, with the United States being a huge target audience for these games, I don't know if Microsoft would want to have the United States be a villain in the games, because obviously the United States invaded Mexico during the Mexican-American War. So who knows if this would ever happen, but I do think it'd be very interesting and a good take to see this happen as a standalone game. Number 9 on our list is kind of a strange one, but it's the First Civilization. Now, not much was known about the First Civilization in the beginning of the franchise, but now we've learned that they were the ones that came before everything. They were basically the creators, and they ended up being called the Isu. We've learned that throughout the franchise. Now, what they did is they used their advanced technology to create human beings, and they created human beings from primates, and they used the human beings. They created them with the ability to be controlled by some of the artifacts that we've seen, like the Apple of Eden, and they, with the mind control, they use illusion, stuff like that. So it would be really interesting to see what happened with the First Civilization in that entire time period. As for who would be our assassin, actually, if you look back into the lore, there was 2 humans that actually escaped the facility that they used to create human beings, and that was Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve escaped with an apple, the Apple of Eden. So that would be an interesting take to see, either play as Adam or Eve as the true first assassin, and see how they interacted with the world before this first civilization was wiped out. You would get to see them going against their creators and trying to take down this first civilization who wants to control all the humans. It would be a really weird sci-fi style Assassin's Creed, but it would be interesting, and there would be no more controversy of who is the first true assassin. It would obviously be Adam and Eve. Number 8 on this list is one of the more stranger eras on this list, and that is Arthurian England. With Assassin's Creed Valhalla bringing the franchise action to a Dark Age England already, the shift to a proper knights and kings mixed with the Templar influence feels like a very plausible situation. Because Arthurian England would be happening in a more current mythological adjacent era in Assassin's Creed games, there's even a high chance we could even see assassins stalking a dragon or fighting alongside King Arthur himself. Now, I'm not saying that the old school die-hard Assassin's Creed fans are asking for something like this, but it definitely could happen. We don't know what the future holds for Assassin's Creed. I mean, as strange as it sounds, with the introduction to the god powers in Odyssey and being Odin, a literal god himself, and the dawn of Ragnarok, I guess anything is possible at this point. Maybe we will see an assassin fighting a dragon, who knows? Number 7 on our list would be the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan's empire was the largest continuous land empire in history. It lasted from 1162 all the way till his death in 1227. There were so many different people and cultures mingled in during that time. It would be surprising if the Templar and the Assassins didn't get involved with the Mongol Empire. I could easily see the Templars trying to help Genghis Khan out, taking over with the empire, and the Assassins trying to stop Genghis Khan and being part of the reason why he was dethroned. Beijing was founded by the Mongols, so there is your city and the areas that we can traverse in during the game. And as far as historical figures go, how about Marco Polo, or even Kublai Khan? Overall, seeing the Assassins try to take down Genghis Khan, I think would be a really cool aspect to see in an Assassin's Creed game. Number 6 on this list is the Spanish Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition has technically already been done with an Assassin's Creed movie that was set in this time period, but it wasn't received very well by the audience. It is possible for Ubisoft to set another famous assassin during this time period because it spans from 1478 all the way to 1834. The Spanish Inquisition is when the tribunal court system used by the Catholics targeted who they considered to be heretics. The moral conflict of this period would be a great way to deepen the ideological clash of the Assassins and the Templars. Now, in the past, Ubisoft has not been afraid to dive deep into other cultures' religions, but the Spanish Inquisition would definitely dive deep into multiple different religions and how they were interacted with other religions and how wars were started, because the Spanish Inquisition is strongly influenced by wars with other religions. I would love to see this time period with the Spanish Inquisition get a redemption from the movie that did not get received well. So please, Ubisoft, please make this happen. Number 5 on my list is the 16th century China, the Ming Dynasty. Now, we've already gotten a 2D game in the Assassin's Creed Chronicles, but I'd like to see a full-fledged game based in this era. The game doesn't even need to be about Xiao Zhou, although seeing a main series based on her would be really cool because we didn't get to see her fully fledged out in a full game. We've only seen her in the 2D side-scrolling. Honestly, it doesn't even need to be a long game. It could be like a 10 to 15 hour game, kind of like how Assassin's Creed Rogue was. The Ming Dynasty was an imperial dynasty of China ruling from 1368 to 1644, so we have a huge amount of time that we could put any kind of assassin in there. The Ming Dynasty followed the collapse of the Mongol Empire, so we could see what would happen after the Mongols fell. If this was a main series game with Xiao Zhou as the main character in a full-fledged Assassin's Creed game, it would be cool to see, like, at the end of the game, kind of like with Altair's armor, she could unlock the legendary Ezio armor, or something along those lines to honor her mentor Ezio Auditore. Overall, this would be a really cool time period to see in a full-fledged game, and honestly, I really hope they do it with Xiao Zhou because that would be a really cool Assassin's Creed game. Number 4 on my list is Feudal Japan. Now, we've already gotten a few games set in this time period that did really well and performed very well for the time period. A good example of that is the Ghost of Tsushima. I feel like Ubisoft could make it different enough and make it more, quote, Assassin's Creed to kind of set them apart. The Edo period was set between 1603 and 1868, so it has a huge, wide range of any time period in between there that we can pick from. It was a time where the samurai were prevalent and were unchallenged, so we could have the assassins facing off against different types of samurai. Various Japanese families fought for control of Japan for many years, so the Templar families could be trying to take control of Japan, and the assassins are there to kind of put a stop to that so they don't rise to power in Japan. The time period accurate equipment during this time would be very interesting to see in gameplay, and especially if they incorporate a hidden blade into the samurai style gameplay. I think that would be really, really interesting. Overall, I know this is one of the most requested time periods for Assassin's Creed fans to put into an Assassin's Creed game, and I really hope they take their fans serious and listen to what they want, because this would be a great time period to make an Assassin's Creed game out of. Number 3 on my list is Ancient India. Kind of like we did with Chronicles China, we've already gotten a 2D Chronicle game showing us a hint of what Ancient India could be. And out of all of the Assassin's Creed Chronicle games, this is the game I'd want the most out of a fully fledged game. The British Raj takes place during 1858 all the way to 1947. This time period is defined as when the ancient subcontinent is controlled by Britain. So we have a huge gap amount of time to make an entire Assassin's Creed story out of. One thing that sets this time period apart from its counterpart in China and the Chronicles collection is that we haven't really seen many games set in ancient India. I mean, the game would be set during the time of the Rajas, and you'd have elephants, you'd have temples, and lots of Indian like weapons you could be building, lots of different styles of weapons you could have. I feel like it would play a lot like Assassin's Creed Origins, but it'd be set in a much different time period. Our assassin could be like an elaborate assassin clan who is in like a lavish hood, maybe even wears like a demon mask like they did in ancient India. The possibilities are endless. I think it'd be a really cool looking assassin. Overall, this is the best game time period wise out of the Chronicles that I'd want, and I really hope Ubisoft go ahead and does it. Number 2 on my list is the American Civil War. Now, I know a lot of people want World War II, but I think the Civil War would work a lot better than this World War II would. We've already seen the type of wartime with guns in Assassin's Creed 3 with Connor. I think that the type of gameplay that worked in Assassin's Creed would work really well in the Civil War, just with a little bit more modern-ish gameplay and like weapons and stuff like that. I could see the Templars could be pulling the strings during the South and the Confederate side, and they would have a hand in how the Confederate tried to rise above the North. I could also see Abraham Lincoln being the guide or an ally for the assassin's main character, and he would help the assassin any way he could by helping out the North side. As for who I think our assassin should be, I definitely think it should be an African American, because he would serve very well to be the assassins during the time period of ending slavery, freeing the slaves from the South, kind of like what happened in the DLC in Black Flag with Freedom Cry. Overall, I think it would work really well because, like I said, it's more like an updated version gameplay-wise of Assassin's Creed 3, because that was the American Revolution and this would be the American Civil War. So I think it would work really well. The number 1 spot on my list is the modern age. What I mean by the modern age is literally the modern age. It's the time period we're in now, filled with all the technology and stuff that is the current time. Now, I know a lot of people says that, well, Assassin's Creed won't work in the modern age with all the technology and guns and all that stuff that we have now, but Watch Dogs Legions actually showed us what it could be like. They basically proved that wrong because of the DLC of the Assassin's Creed crossover that they put into their game. Now, when it comes to the modern age, one of my favorite parts of the original trilogy was the character Desmond Miles. Desmond Miles was always one of my very favorite characters, and I loved how he interacted with Abstergo and how he had dealt with the Templars and learned how to become an assassin in the modern age. I thought that was one of the coolest parts of the games, of the earlier games. So far, we've only really seen the modern age through the little bit with Desmond Miles and the character Layla they introduced in Origins. The whole series actually started with Abstergo being the modern Templars, and what I'd love to see gameplay with the modern age would be showing how the Templars rose to power and became Abstergo, and having to see the modern assassins try to take back control and try to stop them from controlling the world. We could even see assassins, you know, driving in cars, running from rooftop to rooftop, using zip lines, even using technology like they do on Watch Dogs, hacking into stuff. And it's still, obviously, the Hidden Blade would be a major focal point in the series like it is in the DLC of Watch Dogs Legions. But overall, I think it would work really well seeing this type of assassin in these games, because I just think it'd be really awesome to see. So like I said, with the Watch Dogs Legion showing us what the future of Assassin's Creed could be like in the modern age, this is definitely a time period I would love to see as in a future Assassin's Creed game. Well, there you have it, folks. There's the top 10 eras in history that I think the Assassin's Creed franchise should visit next. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit subscribe and make a comment of what eras that you think I missed and that they should visit as well. Keep in mind, this video is my personal opinion, so if you don't like my opinion, that is okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And we will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for coming. See you later.